What's the number one mistake that I see sales leaders make all the time? I think it's making knee-jerk reactions to things and then implementing processes and accountability behind those things without understanding what should really be done and why it's a problem. You know, is it a pain point or is it a problem? In sales, we don't solve pain points, we solve problems. You don't go to the doctor for pain, you go to the doctor for problems because problems typically lead to death. And it's the same thing in sales. As far as leaders are concerned, why do we spend so much time racking our brain and knee-jerk reacting to pain points that we might have, as opposed to looking at problems and how to solve actual problems and understanding why is it a problem, what can I do to solve for it, before just throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I think one of the biggest mistakes I see sales leaders make all the time is having knee-jerk reaction to things and providing low-value, quick and easy fixes that don't amount to any ROI. What would you say is the best way to motivate a sales team? A lot of people are controversial on whether money is a great motivator or not. I think it is. It's definitely not the only motivator, but when you think of all the things that do motivate people, right? Fear of loss, professional development, autonomy, all those things typically lead to more money in one way or another. So you get better at your job, you become better, you professionally develop, you typically get promoted, you're going to make more money, right? Fear of loss. If you don't do well and you get fired, you don't have money. Security, right? You build a lot of money over time because you stay gainfully employed, money. So I really dislike when people say money isn't the motivator, because it really is. So even if somebody leaves a company to go be an SDR at another company, it's because they've been promised a better promotion path to AE. And if they get to AE, they're going to make more money. And same thing with AEs who want to become enterprise sellers and AEs who want to become future managers and leaders. In your opinion, what makes a great leader? I would frankly say transparency is a huge one. And it's not to say overshare or pull back the company financials and let people know how scared they should be about their job security. If that's the situation your company's in right now, especially due to the recession. But it's about owning the relationship between you and your employees' tenure, right? Instead of scapegoating leadership or the board or whatever, you have to have a tough conversation. I see too many people walk into tough conversations with the reps and go, look, if this keeps happening, so-and-so above me is not going to let us continue having it here. They're not going to let you continue working here. But you need to own that relationship. You need to go in and say, hey, we can't justify having you in the seat with the ROI that you're giving us, and we need to make a change. So let's work together to see this through. And, if not, we can talk about what a transition plan looks like. But a great leader can take ownership of the relationship to their employees' performance without scapegoating the higher ups or the people above them for the reason for bad news and things of that nature. What made you originally want to get into sales? So I went to college to be a pastor. I have a pastoral studies degree with a minor in counseling. So being in front of people, speaking to people, leading people, helping people through trauma and hard times is something that I'm used to. And so in sales, you do a lot of the same stuff. If you're in sales for the right reasons, meaning you want to help buyers, you want to educate buyers, you want to transform their businesses, right? People are typically coming to you when they have problems that they're looking to solve that are detrimental to their business. And being able to solve those problems for them can help them come through the other side, seeing a better light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully being successful with whatever solution or service that you're providing. So I think it's kind of a similar thing, as well as transition that into leadership, right? Leading people, getting people bought in, motivating people to the extent of what you can as a leader when you're up there and doing all the rah and standing on the soapbox and delivering your speech and your passion. I think there's a lot of similar things that cross over. And I was in hospitality for a while and I loved hospitality, but I looked at my life and I said, if I want to have a family, I can't be getting off work at 2 a.m. Closing down a restaurant. So decided that I needed to find a 9-to-5 that fit with my skill set, and that's where sales came in. What was the biggest challenge I had to overcome in my career? I was a professional seller for around 6.5, 7 years before I jumped into software sales. And it was about a 9-month process of me deciding I wanted to jump into software sales and actually landing my first software sales gig. It was because a lot of companies I would interview for these SMB mid-market roles as an AE, they would want me to be an SDR because I didn't have any previous tech experience. But I didn't want to settle for an SDR job to do that for a year to then get promoted to what I rightfully knew I was owed and what I could do with my skill set, because I was essentially a full cycle AE when I was working in commercial insurance prior to that. And it was funny because a lot of the commercial insurance deals I would close were $150,000 to $200,000 in annual insurance premiums that a business was paying us in exchange for a good or service. And the ACVs of a lot of these deals, these places I was interviewing, was like 10 to 15K. It was like I've closed deals that were 10, 20x the amount of ACV that your standard rep is closing in one deal. But yet for some reason, because I don't know what the term KPI is, I can't get hired here. So I held out and I eventually landed an account executive role, and I jumped right in. And it was 9 months after doing that role successfully that I moved into a management role where I was coaching and leading people on a daily basis.